Alright, so how do we make this work? Well, the good news is we won't have to use any plugins, but you will have to have a moderate understanding of how scripting works in order for the slot machine to function. But yeah, besides that, we are good to go. So to start us off, we are going to want to make 3 columns of events. We're gonna want to start the first one on 7-1 and it will end at 7-11. So this whole top row will be Y1. It'll start at 7, 8, and 9. And the bottom row will be 11 going to, again, 7, 8, and 9. When making these, you'll want to make sure they are in order on the list over here on the left. So my top one starts at event number 2. So you don't have to start it at event number 1. Mine starts at 2, but make sure that when you do start making the events, they are in order. So mine goes from 2 to 2 to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way down to event number 12. And then the second row for me is 13 down to 23. And the last row is 24 down to 34. Now, in all of these, the only thing we'll have to change is this direction fix to be on and the through to be on. I would probably just copy everything, in order and then change the image to whatever you want your image to be for your slot machine. This color pattern that I have, I just found on Google, but you can use whatever pattern you like. But once you have all of that, we can actually start writing stuff for this. So let's go to our database and we'll make our common events. So I have 8 of them. Ignore this random 1 to 100. I made it and then realized I don't use it in the tutorial. So we're just going to use the 1 through 8. We're going to have move slot reel L, move slot reel M, and R. These are just going to have the reels spinning and stopping when we choose. Slots do spin. This will be what we call to make the whole thing work. Then below that we'll do slots background sound effect. That's just the sound you hear while it's spinning. Slots set locations. This will be the game telling us where all of the colors are once it stops spinning. Then slots check if win will check if, we won, if there's 3 in a row. And slots give reward will give you a reward if it figures out that you won. Before I get into it, let's make sure that we have our switches and variables as well. So we're going to want 10 switches. We're going to have slot reel 1, 2, and 3. This will just choose when they stop rotating. Background sound effect is just for the background sound effect to make that stop making the ticking noise. Slot count top and bottom and slot count diagonals is to let our game know that what we picked, like if we're checking just the middle one, the top and bottom, the top, bottom, and diagonals. And then the last 4 are the win of the colors that you choose, or the symbols. You could do like apples, bananas, grapes, whatever. But for me, I just did colors. And again, you probably figured this just tells the game what you won. Then let's move over to the variables. So the variables that we'll need are these 10 plus 3 extra. Again, ignoring the random 1 to 100. So we're going to need a variable for each of our slot locations. So it's a 3x3, so we'll need 9 total. You can call them whatever you want, but I named mine TL, top left, TM, top middle, top right, middle left, middle middle, middle right, bottom left, bottom middle, bottom right, then a buy-in per line. So after we're done spinning and we want to spin again, it'll keep track of how much money that we'll have to do to spin again. Then the last 3 are just temporary. So if you already have temporary variables in your game, you could just use those ones. But for me, I just added 3. Alright, and now once we have all of those made, we can get into the first common event. So for this common event, we're going to have a for statement with an if-else inside of it. the for statement will be the two numbers in here will be your starting and ending event ID numbers. So my first column started on event number 2 and ended on event number 12. So that's the numbers I'm going to put in here. Then we're going to do an if GameMap.event I.y equals 11, meaning that while it's spinning, it's at the very bottom. We are going to do GameMap event I.locate GameMap event I.x, comma 1, meaning if the event is all the way down on y11, then we are going to instantly teleport it on the same x location that it's at, but up to y equals 1. Then under the else part of it, we're going to set the GameMap event I dot underscore move speed equal to 6, and the event I move straight 2. This move straight 2 just means it uses the game's move function to move the event down 1 space. You can change the move speed to what you want it to be, but for me, I saw that the move speed 6 was perfect for me. And below that, I added a wait 3 frames, which is exactly as long as it takes for something to move from one space to another at a move speed of 6. But again, you can change this if you want it to be slower or quicker. The other two common events are basically the same, except you're going to want to have the numbers in here be the event ID numbers for your second column, but all the other stuff can stay the same. Same with the last column, just change it to be the numbers of your last column. Your starting and your last ending one. I forgot about this, I should have said it, but these are all parallel process triggers, and you're going to want to have the switch be the one associated with that column. So for me, I did slot reel L is slot reel 1, middle is 2, and right is 3. Alright, moving on to the next common event. This one is just going to be a standard one, no auto run or parallel for slots to spin. This is going to be the bread and butter, where literally 90% of the game takes place. We are going to start it off with turning off switches 1 to 4. Or, I apologize, turning on switches 1 to 4, which will make our reels start spinning and our sound effect will start playing. So make sure you turn those on. Then below that, we are going to turn off switches 7 to 10, which is all of our win switches. So, that way we don't automatically win when we start the game. Below that, we'll add a sound effect for whatever sound effect you want for your player clicking start the game. After that, we'll do a wait 30 frames, so it will have to wait at least half a second before the first reel stops spinning. Then below that, I added this random timer, and this one felt good and natural for me, so if you want to use the same one, you can. But after the 30 frames, I added a math random 60 plus 11, so this will be anywhere from 12 to 71 frames. It'll wait between each of the reels turning off. So after we do that random wait count, we're going to turn off the first reel, doing a sound effect of whatever you want for the first reel stopping. Do that random wait again. Do the second reel stopping, turning that switch off. Again, adding a sound effect. Then below that, same thing, random wait. Do the third switch off, again with the sound effect, but this time after it, also turn off the switch for your background sound effect, like the ticking or whatever you decide to do for that. This part's really important. You need to add a wait here with the frames equal to the wait that you did on your first 3 common events. If you don't, then that means it will read all of the locations of your slot machine before it's done spinning. So you want it to be done spinning, and then it'll read where everything is at. After that frame wait, after that frame wait that you do, we are going to do the common event slots set locations, then slots check if win, followed by slots give reward. All right, and that will be it for this common event. Moving on to the next one. This one is slots background sound effect. It will be a parallel with the switch slots background sound effect being on. And all I have in here is just a single sound, and it waits 4 frames to play, so it'll just be playing this really quickly, and as soon as you turn off the switch, it'll just stop playing the sound effect. Now, this is where things are going to get a little more difficult. We're going to move on the slots set location. So we're going to want to have our variables that are assigned to each slot be set to, the color that you have there. So you want to know, is the top left, blue or green? So to do that, first we are going to set those variables equal to the ID of the event that is there. So, if we're spinning blah, 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 and event number 2 lands in slot top left, we want to tell the game, okay, let's change that variable to be 2 because that's equal to the ID. So for me, I have 3 of these 4 statements, and they have 3 if statements inside of them. So this is for the first column. So the for statement is between 2 and 12 because that is my event IDs are between 2 and 12. We're going to check if the GameMap event I.y equals 5, which will be the top left of our 3x3 area. And we're going to want to change the value of 1, which for me is the variable that I assigned to be the top left, equal to I. Then for the second if, we're going to change the I.y of 6, which would be the left middle. We're going to change the value of whatever variable you set to left middle equal to I. And then again over here, this one would be the left bottom, putting in your variable that is your left bottom equal to I. Then we can kind of do that 2 more times, except this one we're changing to the second column. So for me, mine starts at 13 and ends on event number 23. But we can use the same y positions. So event I.y equals 5, which would be top middle. Use your top middle variable. And then this is 6 middle, so use your middle variable, and bottom middle, so your bottom middle variable. Again, I'll just keep walking through it. So for your last column, mine starts at event ID 24 and ends at 34. We can keep the y the same, so 5, 6, and 7. But this is the last column, so this would be top right, and then middle right, and then bottom right. Now that we have all of our variables assigned to be whatever our game ID is in that location, now we'll have to check what that event ID is. So if we move our page over a little bit here, and now we can see on the left side our like our columns over here, so we know the colors that are associated to everything. So the way that I had this work to assign our colors is I used a bunch of switches, or switch in case, or whatever these are called, for each of the variables, so for all 9 locations. Let me just start with the first one. This one will be the top left. So for me, I have it being switch game variables value 1, which is the variable that I have assigned to be the top left variable. And inside of it, I have the cases for each of the event IDs. So if we just assigned our, variable 1, our top left equal to 2, then it would come in here. It would change our value of 1, which would be our top left, to the string of y. So for me, I just did the first letter of all the colors, so yellow, red, green, and blue. But if you're using something different, assign it to whatever you want to be or called. It could even be the whole, string of the word yellow if you wanted it to be. But yeah, so switch, we're checking the value of 1. If it is equal to 2, then we are setting the value of top left equal to y. And then just add a case for every single one in the left column. So 3 is equal to r, 4 is green, the next one down is yellow, and then blue, red, yellow, green, red, yellow, red. Yeah, and that would be your top left. The good part about this is you can copy this for everything that is in the same column. So I could copy this 2 more times for the middle left and middle bottom. So let's look at the middle left here. All of the strings here can stay the same, and all of the cases can stay the same. But we'll just want to change our variable value number here to be whatever our left middle is. So for me, it's 4, so I just change all these ones to 4, and that's all I have to do. For the next one, again, this is the left bottom, so I can keep all the strings the same. It's still the left column, so I can keep all the cases the same. I'll just have to change that 1 or 4 or whatever you have to be your bottom left all the way down. Then when you go to the next column, you will have to change it a bit. So for mine, I have this my middle column. So I'll do, switch of the value of top middle. So for me, that is 2. I'm changing all the cases to be the event IDs. So my second column starts at 13 and it goes all the way down to 23. Then here we can keep it the same number for the value. So I start at 2, all these are going to be 2. And we'll just have to change the string to be the second column. So my second one doesn't start with yellow, it starts red, and then it goes yellow, green, red, and just do that all the way down for your whole second column. Then, like the first column, you could copy paste this 2 more times and just change the 1 number. So for the middle, mine is 5. And, the cases stay the same, the strings stay the same. We'll just have to change all of that number in there to whatever yours is for, the middle. So mine is 5. Change them all to 5. The one below that, middle bottom, mine is 4 or 8. Where did I get 4? Mine is 8. So I just change all these to 8. Again, all the cases and things stay the same because it's the same column as the previous one. And just to walk through it all, let's go to the last one. Well, the last column. So we're going to have to change everything. This will be the top right. So for me, that's 3. We're doing a new column. So mine goes from 24 all the way down to 34. And we're going to have to assign the new strings. So my top right, put that in here everywhere. And my last row is red, blue, red, green, yellow, blue, red, green, yellow, red, blue. And once you have that all done with, if you're using the same template as mine or your own, let's move on to the next one, which again, you can copy and paste 2 more times because this is the same column, so most of it will be the same. Changing that 3 to a 6, cases are the same, it's still the same third column, and with the last one too here, it's the same column, so you can keep the cases the same, and the string here, just change this to whatever your bottom right is. All right, then I think that's it for this. Yeah, for this common event, that's all that's here. It's just setting it to be the locations. All right, moving on to slots, check if when. This one is just a bit tedious. It's a bit more simple, but it just takes a while to set up. But we're going to check all of the winning combinations. We're going to check all of the winning combinations, starting from the highest payout to the lowest. So for me, blue is the hardest to win, so I'll start with that because it'll be the highest amount that you win, followed by green, and then yellow, and then red. So first we are going to check the middle line. Let's check if we won blue. So we're going to start with an if statement. We're going to check game variable value 4, which for me this is the middle left, and see if we assigned it to B or blue or whatever you put for your string. Then below or inside of this if statement, we're going to put two more if statements inside of each other. One that will check if middle left is equal to middle middle, and one that checks if middle left is equal to middle right, meaning that they're all the same. And you can put whatever victory music or sound effects or screen effects, anything that you want to happen before your player actually gets the money, you'll want to put above this control switches. So for me, I'm checking blue. I do the control switch blue on, and above it, I don't have really any screen effects or anything that pop up. I just have it do a victory sound. Then below the control switches, make sure you put in exit event processing. Moving on to the top and bottom lines, we are going to have an if statement checking if that switch slot count top and bottom is on, like if our player paid for it. And then two if statements, not inside of each other, but just inside of this if statement, checking the top and bottom row. So I'm going to start by checking the value of my top left, seeing if it is equal to B. And if it is, pretty much the same thing, is top left equal to top middle? Is top left equal to top right? Check the whole combo. If it is, sound effect, switch on exit event processing. This next one, we're checking 7, which for me would be bottom left. And then we check, is bottom left equal to bottom right? Is bottom left equal to bottom middle? Is bottom left equal to bottom right? If so, sound effects, whatever, switch on for that color, and exit event processing. For the diagonal lines, it's pretty much the same thing. We'll put both of these inside of if slot count diagonals is on, starting with checking the top left. Is the top left B? If so, then is top left equal to middle middle? Is top left equal to bottom right? Do the effects, when blue on, exit event processing. And then this one is, what would this be? Bottom left to top right. So we'll check the bottom left, which would be 7 for me. Is it blue? Then bottom left to middle middle, bottom left to top right, again and again. And after you do all that, you can kind of just copy and paste all of your blue win and turn that into your green, and then turn that into your yellow, and then red. Just make sure after you copy and paste, you'll have to change all of these strings to be the new string that you're doing. Like, so if I was going to do green, I would change them all to G. And inside of all of them, make sure you change the switch to the color that you're doing, as well as the sound effect or screen effects that you do above it. Again, putting exit event processing right below the switch. And I think that's the same throughout all of the colors, like, yeah, with green, all the way down to red. Yeah, there's nothing extra. We just have to do everything we did in blue with every color. All right, now let's move on to the slots give reward. So this one is a lot easier to do than the previous two common events. We're going to do an if statement for each of the switches that are the win. So for me, I'm going to start with when blue. If when blue is on, for me, I did a multiplier of 50. First, we're going to turn off switches 7 to 10, which is all the win switches. Then we are going to set temporary 3 equal to our buy in line. We are going to multiply temporary 3 by our the multiplier that we have for this color. Then we're going to do a change gold, adding that temporary 3 to our gold. Below that, we're going to do a control variable temp1 equals gold. This will play a part later in the tutorial. And down here, we're going to do a text that just says that you won variable 23, which for me is a temporary 3. And I just added some color effects around it as well. Also, before I move on a little bit more, the rewards that I have right now are unfair. The player can win, but the house will usually win. If you want it to be more fair for the player, I would just double all of these winnings. So change the top one to 100, this one to 50, 20, based off of the pattern that I have. If you're using a different pattern or template or whatever, then, figure out what your percentages are. But if you're using this one, the way that I'm showing you is the house will usually win, and then just double it if you want the player to usually win. Moving on to the next one, though, basically the same thing. Just copy and paste it, changing, instead of this being blue, being green, and change the multiplier to whatever you want your multiplier to be. Same for the yellow, it's the exact same thing, except it's in the if when yellow, and change the multiplier. And down here for the red, it's if when red, and the multiplier is different. Now we are almost done. We just have to add the event that your player character will click on to make the game start. So heading over to here, you're going to notice that most of my text has this backslash and then greater than. What that is doing is it's just making all the text pop up right away. Personally, I do it since, it's like a gambling game. You want your player to just feel like they could just keep going and going. So I add this so there's less of a delay between them clicking something and something happening for them. Anyway, the first thing we're going to want to add is just a text that asks if you want to play the slots. I added a little guide here at the bottom to let them know what their winnings would be, depending on what color they land on. Then below that text box, we can add a yes or no, with choice number 2 being cancel. In the no, you could just add an exit event processing. But in the yes, we are going to fade out the screen. You're going to add a picture or an amount of pictures that you want to be on the screen that will kind of act as your slot machine screen, I guess. So for me, I just added like these arrows which kind of act like a box, if you noticed at the beginning of the video. But you could have your slot machine look however you want. Then after you show the picture or pictures, you'll transfer the player to somewhere on the screen. You don't need to make them invisible. Unless you're not using pictures on the screen, then I'd recommend making the player invisible. But just put them down in the corner somewhere that will be behind the pictures, making sure that the fade is none. After that, we can fade back in the screen, and then after these show choices, we'll add a text asking how many lines you want to play. I added a little guide saying, middle is 1, all is 3, and all in diagonal are 5. Below that, we'll do a show choices, having it be middle line, all lines, all in diagonals, and cancel with, cancel being choice 4. In the top 3 options, we're going to have the 2 switches of slot count top and bottom and slot count diagonals. For the middle line, we'll want to turn both of those off. For all lines, we'll want to turn the top and bottom on, but the diagonal off. And then for all in diagonals, we'll just want to have both of those toggled on. For the cancel option, I have fade out background music, just because my slot machine has background music, so just want to fade that out, it just sounds better. Then we'll do a fade out screen, deleting those pictures that you put on your slot machine, and transferring the player back to where they started the slot machine at, making sure that the fade is none, and then fading the screen back in, as well as exit event processing. Then if they do not hit cancel, below all of this, I'm pretty sure, below those show choices, we'll add a text that will ask the player how much they want to buy in per line. I added another reminder, like if you are just playing the middle, it's going to be a ×1, ×3 for all lines, or ×5 of your money for all in diagonals. Then below that, a show choices. For me, I just did $1 $10 and 100, but you can add more if you'd like. Immediately following that, we're going to add a label. You can call it whatever you want. I called mine spin again. This is where it'll come back to if you played the game and you just want to hit yes to respin exactly what you did before. Below that label, we'll do the control variable temporary 1 equal to game data gold. Then below that, we'll do temporary 2 equal to 1. This is just showing us how many lines we've done. So we're going to just generically set it to 1 by default. Then below that, we'll do an if statement. If slot count top and bottom is on, okay, we're going to change temp2 to 3. And below that, we'll do another check. Oh, actually, is diagonals on? And if it isn't, set temporary 2 equal to 5. Then below that if statement, we'll do a control variable temp2 times our buy-in per line. So that way now our game knows how much we're spending to play the game. We'll do a check to see if we have enough gold. So we'll do if temporary 1 is less than temporary 2, meaning that our gold is less than our buy-in. We'll add a text saying not enough gold, and we can fade out the background music, fade out the screen, delete all the pictures of your slot machine, and transfer your player back to where the slot machine is at. Fading the screen back in, again with that transfer player, make sure its fade is none. And after the fade in, do exit event processing. But if you have enough gold, in the else, we're just going to do a change gold decrease by temporary 2. After this if statement, we're going to do the common event to slots do spin, so the game will actually play. And below that, we'll add a text saying spin again question mark. And underneath it, I have variable 22, which is temporary 2, which is equal to how much that you're doing per spin. So it'll let the player know, spin again, that's how much it's going to cost. After that, you'll do a show choices, just yes and no, choice 2 being cancel. If yes, we'll just add a jump to label, that label that you made up there. Mine was spin again. And it's all good because it'll go through the gold check again to check if your player has enough gold. And if not, it'll just transfer them back. And if they do have enough gold, then it'll just play the game again. Under the no, we'll do what we've been doing, fading out the background music, fade out screen, delete your slot machine picture, and transfer the player back to the slot machine. No fade, and fading in the screen. And after all of that is done, you should be good to go. Just wherever you put this event down, do go talk to it, walk up to it while you have gold, and it should work. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.